Welcome to the NBA Prop Pick Show, powered by EV Analytics. I'm John Metler. He's Adam Scherher. Adam, how's it going for you today?
Going pretty well. It's not freezing anymore, so I'm happy.
We were laughing behind the scenes here a couple minutes ago because we were just complaining about Alex Sarr and how much he's burned us in the first quarter. And then Bobby Newport drops in the chat as we're sitting in the background there. Good morning, good luck. Except that first quarter, Alex Sarr, because I think we've played him under, I think we're trying to figure out where like 3 times, and I think he's burned us pretty close. Like he's not gone over in the first quarter, but it's like 14, 16 points. We have like 18.5, 20.5. Then he kind of gets it by halftime. And then like Adam was saying to me, then nothing else. It's just like, it's like an empty second half every time. So it was funny you brought that up. We are 66 and 59 in the year, plus 11.78 units. We started chirping Joel Embiid and we've gone backwards here. So we got to get back over that 20 unit mark. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat. Help us find the best prices as well. If you're watching a replay, drop any questions in the YouTube chat there. I will answer them when I see them. Adam, was there anyone on the board today you saw and you're like, it's that time of the year where like manual adjustments are probably more, you need to do them more than ever with what's happening here with tanking and seeding and all those things. Was there anyone you saw today that good projection but don't really like the bet?
Nothing too drastic. I skipped over a Jose Alvarado under because I thought his minutes might be a little bit too low. I skipped over Campaign under because I don't know exactly what that rotation is going to look like without Hart and without Anunoby. So yeah, just kind of because of the uncertainty there and seeing some other stuff that I liked, I skipped over them. But there wasn't anything that I thought was overly interesting.
The Knicks, you brought up Campaign. I think the Knicks are interesting tonight because they're playing the Pistons. I think the Knicks get one more win. They guarantee the 3 seed. I'm not so sure you even want the 3 seed. Like if you're the 3 versus the 4, if you're the 4, you're potentially playing the Milwaukee Bucks who are injured without Damian Lillard. If you're the 3, you're playing a young upstart Detroit Pistons team in the first round. And then even like no disrespect to the Cavs, but if you drop down to the 4, your second round matchup would be the Cavs versus the Celtics. So either way, it's like they're going to have they can't do better than home court in the first round, right? It's either you're the 3 or the 4. I'm not really sure where their head's at.
I think your Tigers bias might be carrying over because you just said you'd rather play against Giannis than the Pistons.
You know that you'd an injured Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, but it was just like the actual like hearing the words. I don't know. They might prefer Giannis. Like
they might prefer. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I just want to. It's weird because they're sitting out Anunoby Hart today, and it's the front of a back-to-back. I feel like tomorrow maybe it's Brunson Towns and those 2 guys play like that. It doesn't feel like they are kind of going for it. Yeah. So you brought up that Campaign prop there. Let's get rolling into the picks. We have 3 picks here. Adam's from EV Analytics. They do fantastic prop projections. You can find them on the Covers website. If you're new to the release procedure here, we have 3 bets for you. We'll tell you what game we're betting on, the prop market, the team, the player, and then we'll release the bet and we'll kind of kick it around why we like that bet and what we're seeing in the projections and provide a little more context to it. Let's get going into the picks here. We are at DraftKings and BetMGM for the picks. And ESPN's kind of sitting with some good alternate prices as well. First game, we're going Grizzlies Wolves. Definitely the best game on the slate tonight. We're like Sunday, it's over. Regular season. We're going for the points market here. And the bet is Ja Morant under 25.5 points, minus 120. We did have minus 115 before we have air here, but the other best prices we saw were ESPN, BetMGM. They're all sitting minus 120. So I feel like if this is moved from minus 115 to minus 120, that's probably the best price. If you see something better, drop it in the chat. Once again, that's Ja Morant under 25.5 points, minus 120. Adam, you want to break this one down?
Yeah, I mean, it's not one that's going to make you feel good. It's an under on a Ja Morant prop. It's a game that has a 2-point spread. The game matters for Memphis. So you have all of that stuff, kind of like influencing you toward the over. But as a result, you're also seeing the higher line here at 25.5 in the games that he's played with Ja Morant or with Jaren Jackson rather, and with Desmond Bane this year. He's averaging 30.2 minutes per game, 22.1 points per game. If you add a couple extra minutes onto that, you get to like 23.5 minutes or points per game as an average. We have him projected for 32 minutes, so I like to see that. That's pretty much in line with what he's been playing recently. Last game only played 27 minutes in a blowout, probably missed out on like 5 minutes at the end. Maybe he plays an extra minute or 2 because of the magnitude of this game and the fact that Jalen Wells is out, even though obviously they play different positions. That does open up some playing time. So there is plenty of risk here, but at the same time, that line is higher than it generally would be based on his season averages. And then Minnesota is a solid defensive team as well, 5th in adjusted defensive rating so far this season. So that does help at least, and they're a slow paced team also. So that does kind of help to offset to some extent the potential of the added minutes that could come with a game that matters. That is also a 2-point spread.
Yeah, you're definitely going to get the best effort you probably from the Minnesota Timberwolves defensively, because this is a gigantic game for both teams. And both teams are trying to get out of that play-in spot and trying to even maybe host the play-in tournament. But they're all trying to get into that top 6 right here. And this is a huge swing. And these are two teams that are kind of in that spot right now. You have really good perimeter defenders, Nikhil Alexander-Walker, Jade McDaniels, multiple guys, Anthony Edwards, John Morant. We've kind of talked about this with Stephon Castle. I feel like it's very similar, where his game kind of is downhill towards the rim. And when you're talking about like the two bigs of Naz Reid, Rudy Gobert backing up those perimeter defenders who shouldn't get beat that easily, I feel like it's not a great matchup. And you're saying like this is up to 25.5, and he's not much of a 3-point shooter. His game is mostly towards the rim, and that's kind of the strength of the Timberwolves defense. So I feel like the matchups really play here for him as well. That's pretty high. I feel like he's usually about like 22.5. I feel like it's kind of what we typically see for John Morant. So you're seeing 25.5, obviously inflated because of probably the meaning of the game here. So we're going under on John Morant, under 25.5 points.
As an aside, I hadn't actually looked that closely at Western Conference standings, I guess. So you caught me by surprise when you said it matters for the play-in for Minnesota. Like, it is insane that Minnesota and Golden State are in the same position as the Hawks and the Magic.
Yep. Yeah, it's like I know there's like 5 or 6 teams that's gotten shaken up a little bit because the Rockets claim the 2 seed. The Lakers, I think, are 1 win away from the 3 seed. But other than that, here we go. Producer Dell on fire, bring it up here.
If you would ask me what seed Minnesota was, I think I would have guessed 3.
So like they're like all tied, like 48, 47. The Wolves are sitting 46 here. So probably a little slightly more important for them to get this win. But like you could literally go from 4 to like 8 in this last 3 games here. So these are huge games for these teams. Like we said, and also the Minnesota Timberwolves, they're coming off an embarrassing loss. I don't know if anyone saw. I watched that game back against the Milwaukee Bucks. It was a 32-3 run by the Milwaukee Bucks to come back and win that game. So they should be fired up for this one. I think their defense comes to play. And the NBA defense a lot of times is also just effort. So the game plan should be there. The effort should be there. Let's get this first bet. John Morant under 25.5 points, minus 115. Let's move on to the second bet here. We're going to BetMGM. And we're going Pistons Knicks. And we're looking for the assist market. And the bet is Dennis Schroeder under 4.5 assists, minus 110 on BetMGM there. Once again, that's Dennis Schroeder under 4.5 assists, minus 110. Adam, you want to break this one down?
Yeah, I think this one is kind of difficult to come up with like a lot of things to say, but I do think it's, interesting to point out or worth considering. Like Schroeder has not played a game off the bench for like the entire game since like mid to late March, because Detroit's been so injured lately. You had Cunningham out for a while, you've had Harris out. Even in the most recent game that Schroeder did come off the bench, Tim Hardaway got hurt in the first half, so Schroeder ends up playing like 30 minutes. Overall, 18 games off the bench with Detroit this year with Cade Cunningham active. 21.2 minutes per game. That's a little bit inflated, probably. He played 18.8 in the last true game that he did come off the bench. We have him projected for 20. He's averaged 4.8 assists per game in those games. We have him projected for 3.6 here. So there is a nice gap between our projection in 20 minutes and that 4.5 line. I think it's just a spot where, on the one hand, the line is in line pretty much with what he's done in this role. But we're projecting him to be, below his average in this particular game. And I do think it might be a little bit inflated just because for the last 3 weeks, Schroeder's been playing a completely different role than he will be tonight.
Yeah, pretty much everyone's back. Like he was, like you're saying, he was in the starting lineup getting 30 plus minutes, and you're seeing games where Cade Cunningham was out and Jalen Duren was out. I mean, it's not the same position, but you're just missing guys, right? Tobias Harris was out. I think Tobias Harris is probable tonight. Jalen Duren's probable. All these guys. So they should have their full role. They also had Isaiah Stewart and Marcus Sasser. They were suspended for games. Like they've kind of had guys in and out here. So like you're saying, his role is completely different now than it was, the last couple weeks for here. He was starting just because injuries, suspensions, different types of things there. So Bob, I'm saying plus 106 at Pinnacle. So if you have Pinnacle, that would be definitely your best price there. It's minus 110 at BetMGM.
Now I
minus,
get it.
minus 109 Caesars. Also beats it by 1 cent there. So the second bet there is Dennis Schroeder under 4.5 assists, minus 110 BetMGM. But if you have Pinnacle, you can grab plus 106. Move on to the third bet here. We're going back to DraftKings. And we're looking for the Pacers. Full punch job by the Cavs tonight. I'm pretty sure I think Jared Allen's the only starter even playing. We're looking for the assist market. And we're going Tyrese Halliburton under 10.5 assists, minus 130. Once again, that's Tyrese Halliburton under 10.5 assists, minus 130. Adam, you want to break this one down?
Yeah, so kind of like the opposite analysis of what you normally get when you talk about a game against the Cavs because of what you said. The Cavs obviously not playing their guys. No Darius Garland, no Mitchell, no Mobley, no Strus. So not nearly the defensive team that they normally are. Pacers are actually 9.5-point favorites here. So you have blowout risk on the opposite side of what you would normally get with the Cavs. But I think the big thing here is that you see a higher line than usual. Normally Halliburton's like a 9.5 assist guy for the season. He's averaging 9.2 assists per game in 33.4 minutes per game in the games he's played with Siakam and Turner. So I think this is a situation where, yeah, it's a better spot than it normally would be against the Cavs, but the line has fully adjusted and probably is overcompensating a little bit for that when you consider that there is some blowout risk here. Obviously, in either direction, the game could blow out, but more likely in the Indiana direction. And the line is already up to 10.5. We haven't projected for 33 minutes. We haven't projected just over 9 assists. So I think that the line is just adjusted probably a little bit too much.
Yeah, Bob, I'm asking, how does the under 9.5 at plus odds look? Do you have a break even on the 9.5? Just if people are looking at that too. I know you just said just over 9, so it's going to be good. Just if you have a number for them.
We have minus 179 at 9.5. So like I wouldn't bet it that far, obviously, but plus money will look good.
Yeah, so there's a huge probability gap. Like the 10.5, just a little bit better at the minus 130. I think the nice part is the Cavs are they're like kind of punting this game, but at least Jared Allen is in there on that back line as like a rim protector for someone to take away potential assists. You do like that. The other thing too is we were kind of kicking around. You're making fun of me with, saying maybe they want to play the Pistons instead of the Bucks. Is there even motivation for the Pacers at this point to push for a 3 seed? Like, what are they even like when they feel pretty comfortable settled into that 4 or 5 matchup for the same reasons I was saying? Do the Knicks even want to push their starters? Like if the Pacers, like what do they also knocked out the Bucks last year with
I was going to say,
right?
like, there's also some bad blood there. I think they would probably very much enjoy just knocking the Bucks out this year.
Yeah, they got to feel pretty comfortable in that matchup. So it's like home court 4-5. We feel comfortable against the Milwaukee Bucks, and then same thing, we get to take on the Cavs in the second round versus maybe the Celtics. So in terms of like minutes, it's like what are they really like? What are you gonna do? Push your starters really hard minutes and stuff for these last couple games when you probably won't even catch the Knicks anyways, because I think they're 2 games in front of them. So it seems pretty likely that, like, and you were talking about like the blowout risk too. It seems pretty likely if this gets like a 10-15 point spread, these starters will probably get pulled out a lot faster than they typically would. So I think that's definitely in play there too as well for this Tyrese Halliburton under. 3 bets today. John Morant under 25.5 points, minus 115. Dennis Schroeder under 4.5 assists, minus 110. Tyrese Halliburton under 10.5 assists, minus 130. We're 66 and 59 in the year, plus 11.78 units. Make sure you drop a like here on the show as well. If you have any questions, drop in the chat. Adam, you want to let the people know where they can follow you, where they can get more information?
You can follow me on Twitter at ShipMyMoneyDFS. Check out the Endgame Syndicate YouTube channel for more MLB DFS content over there as well.
This concludes the NBA Prop Pick Show powered by EV Analytics. We will be back next Tuesday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern. That will be play-in tournament. I'm pretty sure that'll be the play-in tournament next Tuesday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern. Good luck with your bets today. Enjoy your weekend. Del, play the song.